live as far as 5 minutes from the pastor is concerned. I am way, way later than most mornings. And hey, good morning, Shauna. Good to see you. And give a few moments maybe for other people to hop on. They may have missed it this morning just because I'm way later than I usually am in the morning. Daily update today is May 12th. 2020. It is a cool and rainy morning here in Oregon. Good to see Chris on here as well. Like I said, I'm getting started way later than I usually do. And also, um, it's probably going to be a little bit longer than this morning for a few reasons. I just want to give you guys an update on number one of why I'm a little bit later this morning and kind of what's been going on over the last about 12 to actually more than that now, 12, probably 17, 18 hours here at the Lugo house. Yesterday was an adventure. We had a normal day like any other day. The reason I'm so late this morning is because I just woke up. Part of the reason I just woke up is because I went to bed late. Part of the reason I went to bed late was because Cassie and Josiah uh, got home from the hospital at about midnight last night. And the reason they were at the hospital is the reason all this has been pushed back. And so yesterday, boys were being boys and just being silly, as kids do. You know, we obviously watch over our kids and take care of them and try to keep them safe and not do foolish things, but boys will be boys and kids will be kids. And we have, many of you maybe have them in your house as well. We have these magnets that are really, really strong. They're little, but they're super powerful. And Josiah was messing around with them, and he swallowed some on accident. And so that obviously triggered a series of events. First of all, obviously Googling the dangers of swallowing those magnets. We weren't sure how many he swallowed. What he was doing, from what I understand, he was dangling them over, like there's a long string of them, and he was dangling them over his mouth, and a few of them just fell off and right down his throat. And so, come to find out, they're pretty heavy duty and pretty serious. And because they're such strong magnets, there's the potential to tear or rip your intestines or stomach, or if they get separated in your stomach, they're actually so strong that it's happened before that one can be in one part of your stomach or intestines and one can be in another part, and it can actually magnetize the two together and pin organs and stuff together in ways that they're not supposed to be. So they could be pretty serious, especially if you have multiples in there, which he did. So we called the doctor, and basically the doctor said, "Go ahead. I'm going to call a GI specialist, but go ahead and get a bag ready because you probably need to go to the ER." And so we did that. We got a bag ready, went to the ER. Actually, she actually said skip going to the ER, and she said just go straight to Randall's. And she said the GI specialist will be there waiting for you. That's how serious it was. They weren't even like go have a doctor take a look at it. They said we've talked to the GI specialist at Randall's. They're waiting for you. Go there now. And so that's what they did. We Cassie took them because moms are always more loving, and at that point more caring and comforting. We were all upset, like, what in the world are you doing? But obviously at that point we were worried about his health and making sure that he was safe. But that happened sometime in the afternoon, maybe around 3, I'm guessing. That's just a guess. And so they went up there and they took an X-ray, and they saw that in the X-ray he had them there. There was 4 of them, or that we didn't know yet. There's 4, but they were all still together, which was a good thing in the X-ray. And they were higher up, so they hadn't moved their whole way through the stomach yet. And so the next step was to extract them, and we weren't sure how that was going to happen. So the first thing the doctors were going to do, they decided, was they're going to go down through his throat and into his stomach with a camera and retrieve him that way. There were a few issues though. At that point, they were not in his stomach or past his stomach yet, and they were all together. Um, and so the doctor said if everything stays the same, it could be as short as 15 minutes in and out, which sounded great and shouldn't be a problem. However, she said if they move through the stomach, then that becomes a more serious issue. And so, it was a race against time. Can we get in there before they move their way through the stomach? And then also, she found out that he had eaten, and so there was food in his stomach. So she's like, we're going to have to wade through all the food to find it. She said one time a kid did this and just ate saltines and water, and it took us 2 hours to find them. So, obviously, in a race against time, 2 hours is not great. And then on top of that, right before he's getting ready to go back to the OR, an emergency came in that took precedent and got pushed back a little bit more. So it was a little dicey there for a while, just kind of in a race against time, hoping they could get in there. And it took a little while, but they were able to remove them. There's four of them. Like I said, there are four, they're squares, and they were in there all together, and they were able to remove them. And so, yep. And so, welcome to the day in the life of parents with three little boys. And so that's why I'm late this morning. Because yesterday was a tiring day, and this morning, I'm just really just waking up not too long ago. Have the webinar, live webinar with the governor's office and OH and the Oregon Health Authority in a little bit. But glad you guys are on here. I do want to share something with you from Psalm 26. Continue to pray for Josiah. He's home, doing well, and probably have a little bit of sore throat, that kind of stuff. And pray for Cassie. She's had a long, stressful day as well. So we'd appreciate that. But I want to share with you Psalm 26, and I'm just going to read. It's about 12 verses really quickly. It says, "Judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in mine integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord, therefore I shall not slide. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me, to try my reins and my heart. For thy loving kindness is before mine eyes, and I have walked in thy truth. I have not sat with vain persons, neither will I go in with dissemblers. I have hated the congregation of evil doers, and I will not sit with the wicked. I will wash mine hands in innocency, so will I compass thine altar, O Lord, that I may publish the voice of thanksgiving, and tell of all thy wondrous works. Lord, I have loved the habitation of thy house, and the place where thine honor dwelleth. Gather not my soul with sinners, nor my life with bloody men, in whose hands is mischief, and their right hand is full of bribes. But as for me, I will walk in mine integrity. Redeem me, and be merciful unto me. My foot standeth in an evil place, and the congregations will I bless the Lord." When I was growing up, I got in my fair share of trouble, but I also at times would get in trouble for things I didn't do. You ever had that happen to you before? You got in trouble for things that you didn't do. They weren't really your fault. There were times where David was certainly on the run and being hunted down and chased for things that were unfair. And what I want to do really quickly, as I was reading Psalm 26, I just want to share with you 7 steps to take, or 7 things to do from Psalm 26 when you're treated unfairly. Because it'll happen to all of us. Every single one of us will be treated unfairly. So I just want to run through these really quickly this morning. Number 1, the first thing you do is talk to God about it. Verses 1 through 2 say, "Judge me, O Lord, for I've walked in mine integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord, therefore I shall not slide. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart." So the first thing that David did was talk to the Lord. He went and said, "God, I believe these are my motives. Lord, make sure my motives are right here. I want to make sure that I'm right with you, so I'm bringing this thing to you first of all." So talk to the Lord. Number 2 is remember God's loving faithfulness. Verse 3 says, "For thy loving kindness is before mine eyes, and I have walked in thy truth." You know, during times where we're treated unfairly, sometimes we can be genuinely hurt and we feel alone. But remembering God's loving faithfulness and loving kindness helps us to remember that God is faithful, and we draw strength from that whenever we do feel alone. Number 3 is this. So number 1 is talk to God. Number 2 is remember God's loving kindness, His loving faithfulness. Number 3 is refuse to listen to ungodly advice. Verses 4 through 5 says, I have not sat with vain persons, neither will I go in with dissemblers. I have hated the congregation of evildoers, and will not sit with the wicked. He says, when we're hurt, oftentimes we just want to be heard by people that we know are on our side, are going to be like, yeah, get him back. Let's do this thing. Let's show him who's boss, kind of thing. And and maybe that would even encourage vengeance. But from the very beginning, refused to do that. So talk to God about it. Remember his loving kindness. Refuse to listen to ungodly advice. Number 4 is keep your hands clean and your heart thankful. Verses 6 through 7 says, I will wash my hands in innocency. So will I encompass thine altar, O Lord, that I may publish with the voice of thanksgiving and tell of all thy wondrous works. Thankfulness is usually one of the first things that goes out the door whenever we feel hurt. And so we need to maintain that. Don't let that happen. Talk to God. Remember God's faithfulness. Refuse to listen to ungodly advice. Keep your hands clean and your heart thankful. Number 5 is this: delight in praise and worship. Verse 8 says, Lord, I have loved the habitation of thy house, and the place where thine honor dwelleth. The Bible tells us that the Lord inhabits the praise of his people. And there's no better place to be when we're hurting than with people who can lift us up. And that's one of the reasons I look forward to being back together at church, is that we can lift each other up, during these difficult times. Number 6 is this: maintain your integrity. Maintain your integrity. Verses 9 and 10 say, gather not my soul with sinners, nor my life with bloody men, in whose hands is mischief, and their right hand is full of bribes. The truth of the matter is, in moments when we're hurting, revenge may be sweet, but it leaves a bitter aftertaste. And so keep your integrity. Don't respond in an ungodly manner. And then number 7 is ask God to deliver you. Verses 11 through 12 say, but as for me, I will walk in mine integrity. Redeem me and be merciful unto me. My foot standeth in an even place. In the congregation will I bless the Lord. Ask God to make it right. If you've been truly hurt and wrong, ask God to make it right, and then leave it there. 7 steps, 7 things to do whenever you're treated unfairly. Talk to God about it. Remember his loving kindness. Refuse to listen to ungodly advice. Keep your hands clean and your heart thankful. And as Chris mentions on YouTube, now more than ever, keep your hands clean and your heart thankful. Delight in the praise and worship of God. Maintain your integrity. Ask God to deliver you. This is what David has laid out for us. And I hope that you'll take that to heart, and maybe you'll remember some of these things the next time you're treated unfairly. And I hope I do as well. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day.